Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, June 27th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Monday. All righty. So last week, we all got dealt a gut punch, and there was a lot to reckon with. So it's a new week. And where we are right now is we are the day before primary election. So if you didn't manage to send in your absentee ballot, you didn't vote over the weekend and early in voting, now is the time to make your plan to vote tomorrow. The polls open at 7 a.m. You can't vote at the county election board. You must vote at your precinct location. And because of redistricting, your precinct location may have changed. So please check the voter portal or your newly received voters registration card to make sure you know where you're supposed to vote. Really important. Go early in case you forget and you go to the wrong place and they have to send you somewhere else and you don't run out of time. Be sure and cast your vote. So last week was a gut punch. I was planning on voting at my polling place just because, and then last week happened and I needed to go vote to kind of clear my head. Then I spent this weekend with a whole lot of like-minded people. I spent this weekend at Pride and, our state central committee and the African American Federation. So I was all with the Democrats this weekend, and I feel like my soul is a little bit rejuvenated. But then I talked to a young person who I respect, who said to me, I'm tired of Democrats saying to me, go vote. Because I did go vote and nothing changed. It broke my heart a little bit because she said it with such earnestness. And I hear it all the time. I see it on TV where young folks are saying, but I did vote. And for the young folks who did vote, I want to say thank you. Thank you. But then I need to say also to you, it takes more than one vote. You have to vote every time your precinct is open. Every time. This jacked up Supreme Court that we have right now isn't a result of one vote. It's a result of several votes all over the country. Our senators confirm the Supreme Court justices. They're the ones who are going to decide if we're going to grow the Supreme Court or leave it how it is. They're the ones who, if we're lucky, are going to be right there at the ready to replace Clarence Thomas when he has his comeuppance. Senators matter. And right now in Oklahoma, no matter where you live in Oklahoma, you have a choice for senator. Our current senator is James Langford. That's the seat that's up. That's the seat that's on your ballot right now is James Langford. I'm mentioning him because I want you to understand how important it is that you vote for anybody else but him. James Langford, under oath, said, it was in 2010. It was in 2010, so it is dated, so I want to be honest about it. But while being deposed, asked if he believed that 13-year-olds could consent to sex. He said yes. He said yes. And they said, well, okay, wait. Let's define consent for you, because maybe you don't understand what consent means. And then he defined it for him, and he said yes. This is the same guy who celebrated women losing their body autonomy last week. So I'm just going to go on a big stretch. My big thing, even before reading what he said, was I fear, and I've said it everywhere I've gone, I fear for the moment a year from now, or a year and a half from now, when I'm at Target or when I'm at Walmart, I know that I'm going to see multiple 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds walking around pregnant because we've taken away their choice in Oklahoma. That's what's going to happen. So he sent out a celebratory tweet, a celebratory statement. And so I think about that, and I think about that he thinks that 13-year-olds can consent to sex. And he thinks that 13-year-olds can consent to sex, and he thinks that nobody can determine whether or not they're going to end their pregnancy but the government. So it goes to show that he's okay with 13-year-olds giving birth. That's where he is. That guy has to go. I don't care if he's your cousin, he's your best friend. And so on the screen now, we have the Democrats who are on your ballot. These are the Democrats. These are your choices to replace Langford. We have Aria Ozma, Dennis Baker, Jason Bollinger, Joe Glenn, Madison Horn, and Brandon Wade. Go out to our website, okdemocrats.org. Look at the candidates. And as you can see, we have their links to their websites, to their social media. If they've been on Scott's show, there's a link to them so you can get to know them. Get to know them. Make an informed decision, but please cast your vote. Langford can't stay because that's who we have. That's who we have. I mean, there's a bunch of people running on that side, but it looks like he's the front runner. He's not concerned with what is best for Oklahoma. He's not. He has to be replaced. And so it's not about voting one time, because the person who said that to me already voted once. And so I'm on social media. I know people. I've heard people who I know and respect say stuff like, I'm going to sit this one out. Or I need to teach the centrist Dems a lesson. And so I'm not going to vote so they'll get the lesson. Guys, that's not the way to get the lesson. The way that the lesson is maintained, and I want to make sure that I have the graphic. The way that the lesson is maintained is that we vote over and over and over again. Our political leaders will know our priorities only when we tell them again and again. And those priorities begin to show up in the polls. That's it. They're not going to learn by you withholding your vote. They're not going to learn by you protesting. They're going to learn by you voting over and over and over again for your interest. That's how it works. You have to vote over and over and over again, and you can't. And my one vote is very important to me, and I cast it every time I can. But I know my one vote only counts when I drag all of y'all who are listening to me with me to vote. You have to vote every time. And then you have to encourage as many people to vote every time. If I'm the only one voting for blue, it's not going to carry. And so I come on here every day and I beg you to go blue with me. And I beg you to bring your friends to go blue with me. That's the only way that it works. And for those of you who have already kind of given up, those of you who think that we don't have a chance, I want to remind you that when Kendra Horn ran in 2018, the maps didn't look like she could win. The numbers did not look like she could win. And Steve Russell was favored. And people like Steve Russell. People still like Steve Russell. But she worked her tail off. And then folks showed up for her. And she won. It is possible when we focus, we have a candidate who's doing the right things, and then we show up and we bring someone with them. I know you guys are tired of hearing me say it, but I don't think it's getting through. So I'm just going to keep saying it. You have to vote every opportunity. It doesn't take one vote. The Supreme Court, all of those people weren't voted on at the same time. It was a different Senate. Now, a bunch of them, 3 of them got voted on at the last president's term. But Biden has already had one. And if they hurry up and do what they're supposed to do, he for sure will get another one in Clarence Thomas. But we have to put the right senators in place. So when it comes through, that they ask the right questions and they vote the will of the people and not whatever they decide in a gang. That's absolutely what has to happen. So Senate to replace Langford is on your ballot no matter where you live in Oklahoma. So if you haven't voted early, either by mail-in or early in person, Senate is on your ballot. Additionally, governor is on your ballot. We have 2 candidates. I think we have a picture. Awesome. This is who's running for governor. They don't have to hate each other to give you 2 different options, to give you 2 different choices. But this is who we have running for governor. We have Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister, and we have former Senator Connie Johnson. Please go do your research, learn about them, pick. We know what we have right now. He has shown us that he's going to run it like a business. He's going to dress up in costume every time he gets a chance. And he's going to be embroiled in scandal that wastes millions of taxpayer dollars. Not thousands, millions of taxpayer dollars. Do not forget Epic. Do not forget Swadleys. Do not forget the COVID stuff we paid for that we never got. Do not forget not spending the ARPA dollars. He's told us who he is. We know what we have right now. We know what we have right now. And we know that it is not good for Oklahoma. So our choices, if I can get the picture up again, our choices are former Senator Connie Johnson and Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister. Those are our choices. Oh, thank you, Kirsten. I almost didn't mention Class Wallet. Courtesy of our current governor, Class Wallet. Don't forget, these are ways that he's frittering away our tax dollars. Just frittering it away like it doesn't matter and bragging about it. I mean, if I have to watch another commercial about him bragging about how great a shape Oklahoma is, let me remind you, we're number 51 in the status of women. 51. There are only 50 states, guys. We're number 51 in the status of women, and he's bragging. We're number 48 in education, and he's bragging. Our current attorney general has been rated incompetent and unethical, and he's bragging. We know what we have. You have an opportunity to let folks know what you want at the ballot tomorrow. Governor and senator. Let's narrow it down. Let's pick the right candidate so that we can get behind that candidate between Wednesday and November 8th. Put everything we have behind those candidates. So for the folks who say, I voted and nothing has gotten better, I say, thank you for voting. Thank you. But you got to keep voting because it didn't get better overnight, and we have to change more than one thing. We did not get here overnight. We did not get civil rights through one election. We did not get marriage equality through one election. We didn't get the woman's right to vote through one election. These all were the result of multiple elections. And so if you're feeling like it doesn't matter, it does matter. That's just the way democracy works. We vote over time. And hear me when I tell you, not voting is not a protest. It's not a rebellion. You're not sending a message. You're surrendering. You're surrendering. And unless you are a white male whose grandfather owned land, whose great-great-grand, whoever came over in the 1700s owned land, the right to vote came through legislation, came through actually working into the system. One last thing before I go. All weekend long, I was fielding the question up and through today, why didn't we get more Democrats to run? I'm really upset that more Democrats didn't run. Oh my gosh, what is the Democratic Party doing that more Democrats didn't run? So let me tell you, I spent the better part of a year and a half recruiting candidates to run for this cycle. And I've already started recruiting candidates to run for 2024. It's not all on me. I need your help because I don't know everybody. And if you watch me regularly, I think you remember and kind of got tired of me begging for your help to help me find someone. But here's the thing. As I was talking to people about helping me find somebody to vote, and as I was talking to people saying, I think you'd be great, they were saying to me, will Democrats show up? Will Democrats beat me up if I'm on the ballot? I'm afraid that Democrats won't vote for me. And that's because of how we vote. You got to vote every time if you want Democrats to run up and down the ballot, because that's the conversation. That's the conversation. When I'm talking to someone, they're like, will people vote for me? Because it doesn't look like we have enough registered Democrats and that they show up. You want more Democrats on the ballot in 2024? You got to vote for the Democrats that are on the ballot now. You've got to support the Democrats that are on the ballot now. That means with your time and your treasure. Drive a candidate around, write postcards, make phone calls, drop literature, make sure you share their social media. You got to do that so that candidates will feel confident that they'll have support when they step up. Step up now, because a future candidate is looking right now, trying to decide if they're going to run. They're looking at what's happening now. So step up now, help the candidates that we have run through the tape in November so that when we recruit for 2024, they will see that there are Democrats who are doing the work. All right. Thanks for joining me. Make your plan to vote. Please, please, please make your plan to vote. If you haven't voted, vote. This evening at 6:30, please make some time to join Scott Hamilton on the Hamilton Report, where he will be joined by gubernatorial candidate Joy Hoffmeister. That's this evening at 6:30. You can go out to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, or Scott's personal page. Go out, watch, and hear him ask Joy the questions that Democrats want to know. And you can hear her in her own words the day before the election. All righty. Thanks for joining me. And I'll be back here tomorrow because I've already voted. I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15. You guys have a great one.